According to all known laws of aviation, a bee should not be able to fly, yet their tiny wings can lift their big bodies into the air. They're not all that big, though. Bees on average are only half an inch long. So how can something so small affect our world in such a big way? Today, I will be talking about honey, pollination, and the endangerment of the species. Does anyone in here like honey? I'm sure you do, and you probably like to eat it. It has more purposes than that, though. According to medicalnewstoday.org, honey is a great medicine. It's great in cough syrups. It's good at fighting off colds and infections, and it's great for your body. It can even heal burns and abrasions. That's why it's in things like shampoos, lotions, candles, and soaps. But of course, the most popular thing to do with it is eat it. According to agmrc.org, in 2016, the U.S. produced 161.8 million pounds of honey. This sold $11 billion. This is all thanks to the 2.7 million colonies we have in the U.S. and 125,000 beekeepers. Do you know how honey is made, though? The squeamish might want to cover their ears. After bees feast upon nectar in flowers, which is their main source of food, they will go back to their hives. This is when they are done digesting it, and they will regurgitate it into honeycombs, which is a source of food and energy, just in case. But don't worry, they filter it before they put it in cute little bear jars for you to eat. They take out beeswax and other debris that might have ended up in it. And you won't ever have to worry about it going bad. It has a shelf life of over 2 years. Honey wouldn't be made possible without pollination. For those who don't know what pollination is, it is the transfer of pollen from one flower to the next. Pollen is that yellow stuff you see inside of flowers. There are a few pollinators, like a few flying insects, birds, specifically hummingbirds, humans, and the number one pollinator are bees. They fly up to 40 miles a day to eat, so it's no wonder why they're the number one pollinator. It brings in over $40 billion a year because without pollination, we wouldn't have flowers, fruits or vegetables, crops, trees, or some food and drink products like tea and coffee. The large numbers I have shared makes it seem like bees are in abundance. This is simply not true. According to idtimes.org, from 2014 to 2015, we lost 42% of the bee population. There have been efforts made to try to save the bees. One of the groups that have been made is called Honeybee Conservancy. They have buildings all over the country where they try to raise awareness and money, and through all of this money they have gathered, they have made beekeeping facilities. They encourage people to plant bee-friendly plants so bees have a safe place to be. People weren't sure why the bees were dying so quickly, and researchers first thought it was because of the winter temperatures. Bees usually do have a decrease in population in the winter because it is cold and they don't have as much to eat like flowers for cold states like Iowa. But when they researched it, they had found out that the winters were less severe and had record high temperatures, so they weren't sure why the bees were decreasing so rapidly. They have a few theories. They think that one might be a parasite called the varroa. It can work its way into a hive and kill it from the inside out. Another could be global warming, destruction of environment, or pesticides, which are meant to kill parasites, but they also have an effect on bees. So how does the bee affect our world? We talked about honey and all of its uses, like consumption and medical purposes. We talked about pollination and how it affects our world, how we would be without crops and trees without it. And we talked about the endangerment of the species. And we talked about how there have been groups to try to prevent the bee from going extinct. So maybe with groups like this and more research, we will finally be able to answer the question, how can a bee fly? Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a beautiful day.